Stop baiting.
Get off the roof, dude! You have 10 seconds!
Baiting is how to make yourself look great on the scoreboard while being hard stuck emerald. But just because your stat line looks good doesn't mean that you're actually playing good. Baiting doesn't win rounds, and if you want to solo queue to champion, then breaking this habit is tip number 10. The tips from here on out, though, only get better and better, with tip number 1 being the best of them all. As a solo queue player, it's important to impact your team as much as you can in order to stack the odds of winning into your favor. Not all kills are equal, which is why getting impactful kills is the key to winning rounds. In order to do this, you need to establish control, very powerful control. This can look like many things, like getting yourself into positions where you can make big plays onto the bomb site, or a spot on defense where you can completely shut down an attacking push. If you can't really achieve much where you're playing, or you have a low chance of actually getting into a fight there, then the chances are pretty good that the control you have is not worthwhile and you should find something new to hold. Like my balls. I mean, it's just my balls. Good control also allows you to put pressure on the other team, whether it's using vertical pressure on the attack or having complex defense setups that interfere with their plan. The more you can disturb what the other team wants to do, the more impactful your control is. Playing the game positionally like this is one of the best ways to get kills that will be consistently impactful for your team. If you have a problem with consistency or just like whiffing in gunfights, then playing positionally is definitely more ideal. But if you're bolo and can just whip and snap to heads all the time consistently, then you probably don't even need to play positionally, but it will still make you better. It will still make you better. If you compare this to just sitting outside the building and holding angles, then you can see how establishing control lets you dictate the pace of the round, while baiting outside relies on the enemy's aggression and mistakes in order to get kills. And most of the time, these baiting style kills don't come until the person is the last alive. As long as one defender tames their crackhead impulses and forces the baiter to plant, then it's a guaranteed win for them. Baiting is not good, it's not consistent, and if you play like this, it's probably why you're not ranking up. Or it's just those terrible teammates, right? Wrong. Stop blaming your teammates and start muting them instead. Muting your teammates is an underused mechanic of the game. If you have teammates that only use their mic to talk shit or just make the worst callouts of all time, then instead of arguing with them, maybe just mute them. I used to do this all the time when I was solo queuing from copper to champion, and it just made my life 10 times easier and made me play better overall. It can be super frustrating when you're consistently getting bad callouts or that one guy who's just an asshole, but muting them can reset the slate and keep you focused on what really matters, carrying your team to victory like the solo queue god that you are. This is only half the battle though. You've got a microphone too, and you should use it whether you've muted them or not. Even if you've got them muted, your teammates can still hear you, so keep the callouts coming and try to help your team the best that you can. Getting on cams and being a good teammate will increase the chances that your teammates perform well, and in turn increase the chances that you'll win. Instead of writing off your entire team as complete garbage after you watch Billy Bob 69 with his entire mag, hop on those cameras and keep making those callouts. It could be the difference maker between a round won or a round lost, especially when your teammates need all the help that they can get. And if you find you get really frustrated at your teammates and the outcome of games despite your best efforts, then maybe taking a look inwards is the next step. Have you ever felt like anger and negativity were controlling your life? Well, I knew this feeling all too well, especially when it came to playing video games. It felt like a constant battle against these overwhelming emotions of rage, and the harder I pushed back, the worse it got. But here's what changed everything for me. Talk therapy. Before therapy, managing my anger seemed almost impossible. But through talk therapy, I learned new perspectives, techniques, and ways to become a happier, more positive version of myself. This transformation definitely didn't happen overnight, but it was worth every step. This is why I'm excited to talk about the sponsor of today's video, BetterHelp. BetterHelp understands that therapy is not just for clinical mental health issues, and it's for anyone who wants to improve their life, just like I did. With BetterHelp, over 4 million people have started to live happier, healthier lives. It's super easy to get started. Just visit BetterHelp.com/Poxonlox, answer a few questions, and BetterHelp will match you with a licensed therapist specialized in what you're struggling with. They do this in most cases within 48 hours or less. Therapy with BetterHelp helped me understand myself better, developing coping strategies, and create a plan for a better life. It's the easiest way to start talking to a therapist right from your phone or computer through calls, video chats, or messaging. If my journey with anger resonates with you, or if you're curious about what therapy can do for your life, I encourage you to visit BetterHelp.com/Poxonlox. And by using my link, you'll get 10% 10% off your first month. BetterHelp made a significant difference in my life, and it could do the same for you. Take that first step towards a happier, more positive version of yourself, and if anything, you can get better at Rainbow6 along the way. Staying positive is actually one of the most important tips that we'll talk about later as well, but for now, we need to talk about counterplay. Countering the other team is crucial when you're solo because it's the best way to be in the right place with the right tools so that you can be the hero of the round and win it single-handedly. This is an easier way to just skip the process of having to rely on your teammates and be able to achieve more individually. Maybe the other team isn't droning very much, so you pull out the cav and lurk where they typically push from, or you bring a cap can and grab some easy kills to take the pressure off. Countering not only the other team's operator selection, but their playstyle too is extremely lethal. Understanding how they play and what you actually need to beat it is the hardest part about this. Actually executing the plan should come pretty naturally as you take advantage of the weakest part of their strategies. Playing to counter the enemies is how you can consistently be in the right place at the right time to make big plays that win rounds. Enough with the bad teammate talk, because now you're the man of the hour every single time. Unless you're playing like a pathetic, scared little boy, because if that's the case, you'll end up at the bottom of the scoreboard getting dumpstered by the enemies. And that's why tip number 7 is to be confident. One thing I've noticed at lower ranks is how quickly confidence can be broken. You could be one round into the game and have teammates dropping GGs in the chat, giving up entirely. One round in, what's up with that? That's crazy! Being hopeless or thinking that you're just not as good as the other team leads to playing worse. Playing with a lack of confidence leads to poor decision making and bad plays that get you killed. However, if you shake off a lost round or a bad play and dive straight back into the next round with a profound amount of confidence, then you're much more likely to land your shots, clap some cheeks, and win that round. Confidence, or lack thereof, sets off a feedback loop. The more you doubt yourself and play scared, the more confidence you lose and the worse you play. This will continue until you regain your confidence again. That's why breaking the cycle early is super important, so you can maintain quality gameplay and continue to carry your team. After all, you will have to do some heavy lifting if you want to solo queue to the highest rank in the game. Another part of this confidence and good mentality comes from focusing on the right things. Focusing on your bad teammates or a poor scoreline is not only a waste of time, but it will wreck your ability to perform. That's why tip number 6 is to work with what you've got. Whether you're doing good or bad in a match, one thing will always remain true. Focusing on what you can change and how you can adapt to the enemy team will improve your chances of winning. By working off of your teammates' operator picks, filling any gaps that you might have, and adjusting based off the enemy's weaknesses, you're constantly keeping a competitive edge. The second you fall into the mental trap of focusing on all the things you're doing poorly is the same moment where you lose the ability to think, adjust, and adapt. This lack of proper focus is terrible for your individual performance, so instead of thinking about what isn't working, try to work with what you've got, whether it's one good teammate willing to help out or a hole in the defense ready for exploitation. I've got a hole ready to be exploited, that's for sure. Wait, what? What did he say? Oh my gosh, dude. Tip number 5 is one of the best ways to actually improve at the game in order to improve your game sense and carry your team easier. And that's by watching your gameplay back. Thanks to the match replay feature in R6, you're able to watch your matches back and see your mistakes way more obviously. Even in the rounds you win, there can be very flawed plans that just happen to work out for the wrong reasons. When watching yourself back, ask yourself questions and be curious as to what you could do better. Figuring out what strategies are stronger or even learning from what your opponents are doing is a great way to improve. Understanding how risky the plays that you're making are and thinking of better ways to achieve the same results is how you can grow your understanding extremely quickly. Watching Pro League is another fantastic way to do this, watching the best players in the game do what they do after thousands of hours of practice. There's a reason behind every single move that they make if you just ask yourself the question, why? Why are they sitting here? Why are they watching this? Why did they make this line of sight or this rotate hole? What is their job? What are they trying to accomplish? These are just a few questions, but the list goes on and on. If you can't answer these questions for your own gameplay, then you've still got lots of work to do. And you might think, yeah, well in Pro League they have good teammates and it's a lot easier when you have a good team. And while that's true, there are still ways for you to play with the power of teamwork even with bad teammates and no callouts. Tip number 4 is to play with your team. Playing with your team, using your mic, and working together is infinitely more strong than 5 players trying to do everything on their own. Some games it's easier easier than others, like when you get blessed with like-minded friends. In other games, you get a pile of hot, wet garbage for teammates instead. But in both situations, there's actually still ways to work with your team to get the competitive edge. Good teammates are pretty straightforward. You work with them, call out, and pick operators that go well together. Garbage teammates, however, require garbage solutions. It's time to dumb it down to another level with baiting. I know the first tip of this video was to stop baiting, but this is a completely different form of baiting, the good kind. So the way this works is you need to pick the most aggressive player on your team and just follow them around the map. You can use utility to help them, or even drone them if they're willing to listen, but if not, just stick by their side, and when they start to get into a gunfight, peek at the same time. You gotta be real close on their back for this, otherwise you're both probably gonna get fried. The enemy team will be looking at them and won't be able to shoot both of you at the same time. This results in only one of two outcomes. Either you kill the enemy before either of the two of you die, resulting in gaining control and a kill, or the enemy kills your bot teammate and you get the trade, resulting in a 1-for-1 exchange, but you also now have that control. And if you both get outgunned by that one guy, then you definitely need to work on your aim, or you're just following them a little too far behind. And if your team is really struggling, you can also pick operators that will help them, like bringing a Dokkaebi, Finka, or Lion, whose global ability can give your team some assistance. At the end of the day, if all 4 of your teammates are completely useless, then you're going to lose, so helping them succeed is a necessary part, even if you think that they're bad. Or you can just, completely ignore them, call them trash, get angry, and lose the game. The choice is yours. I'm just letting you know what I recommend and what I've done to make it work. And this leads into the next tip, which is all about mentality. We've hinted at it a bit throughout this video, but mentality is going to be a massive factor in your solo queue success. Focusing on what you can do to improve your team's chances of winning a round is one thing, but being an active participant in your team's morale is how you can keep everyone focused and locked in. I got you, Daddy. I had to do it for you. I had to get you up. You're my superhero. I don't know how he didn't kill me. That was the dumbest thing I could have possibly done, but hey. I love my team more than I love myself. Being a good teammate and even just saying things like nice try or good job and actually caring about your teammates as people will genuinely make them play better. Ranked is not the place to be critiquing and criticizing your teammates' gameplay, especially when you're solo. These people don't know you, they don't trust you, and who's to say that your judgment is better than theirs? Yeah, you might know more or you might be a better player, but that's irrelevant when your teammates have not been in your shoes. There's nothing convincing them that you're better than them. So instead of telling them how to play or how to be better, just let them be and bring good vibes, and they'll be able to remain at the peak of their abilities even if you secretly think that they're shit. Now, organizing people and making plans or asking questions in order to prepare better for the next round is completely okay as long as it's in good spirits and in a positive light. People are emotional creatures and they'll pick up on the negativity of your tone. If you're being aggressive or negative, it can rub them the wrong way. We all know about tilt, and we all know it's not good for our game. Tilt makes you play poorly and it makes everything worse. Being negative and straight up raging at your teammates will not only make you more tilted, but it could tilt them too. When you're in a game with a pack of tilted teammates, your chances of winning are completely gone. So stay positive even if you don't feel like it, because it's better for the team overall and it's even better for your life overall. And if you're really struggling with this part, then maybe go check out that BetterHelp link in the description. The next tip is the best strategic tip you can possibly make while solo queue, which is to pick operators that bring information. Information operators, whether you're on attack or defense, is the key to success in solo queue matches, and there's a few reasons for this. Firstly, your teammates are a gamble. Whether they even make accurate callouts in the first place or don't use their mics at all, it is very risky to rely on them for the accurate information you need to actually make plays. That's why it's very important to be self-sufficient with your information gathering. Making plays is going to be the key to single-handedly win rounds, but if you're getting caught off guard by enemies because of a lack of information, or you aren't gaining enough information to take action, then you'll be stuck in a limbo of baiting, waiting, or playing with way too high of a risk factor. But information on its own is really only sufficient on the defense. On the attack, there's one other issue. As an attacker, you are the one with the clock against you, meaning you need to push and take control of areas over the course of the round. As a defender, you can just sit there and wait for people to walk into you because the clock and map is in your favor. What this means is that the attackers are the ones who need to force people out of positions in order to take it via hard hard breach or other utility. This is a simple concept, and we all do it whether you realize you're doing it or not. The issue for the attack in this case is that the information is not enough because you need other utility in order to push these defenders around and make the plays that you need to gain control. This is why I'm not a big fan of Zero when I'm solo, because he doesn't have the flashbangs or grenades to make aggressive plays that are necessary to gain control. It's also why I practically only play Fragger operators. I did a whole video on support versus Fragger ops when SoloQ that you can watch here. This video explores the topic a lot more if you're interested. The moral of the story is that bringing operators with information and playmaking utility like Yana, Zofia, Nomad, Dokkaebi, or even Grim is going to make it much easier to isolate gunfights and actually stand a chance when you need to make those round-winning plays. Even Ying is a great operator because you can use the Candelas to blind the area and use your face as the info, knowing that the entire area is flashed. Plus, some quick sight hits with Ying usually works great because the Warden player will be off somewhere else 99% of the time. But the last and most important tip of all is that you don't try to win. What? That's crazy. How can you solo queue to champ if you don't try to win? Well, it's actually really simple. Instead of trying to win, you want to try and improve. Instead of doing strategies you constantly do and falling into a trap of half-good strategies run over and over again, you want to constantly be learning new strategies and improving at every aspect of the game. By focusing on improving and growing as a player, you will get much better than you would if you stay static by doing the same things you always do. Expanding your playbook and the depth of your understanding as a player will make you a better player, which will actually cause you to win more over the long term than you would if you stayed static. So don't try to solo queue to champion in a week, but truly play like and be an R6 champion by focusing on becoming one over time. These mentality tips aren't a quick fix for your gameplay, but if you really want to get better, you're gonna have to put in the work.